Welcome to the Unit 2 overview. Warning, there is a lot in this unit. It covers lots of bits and pieces. Move through it carefully and make sure you don't miss a piece. The central piece of Unit 2 is the financial statements. Here we're concentrating on the basic format. We look briefly at each financial statement, making up a set of general purpose financial statements. And this discussion is really driven by the requirements of IAS 1. When we go on to prepare the notes to the financial statements, almost every other accounting standard affects us. Some of the smaller, more general topics are grouped together in Unit 2. These include the requirements of related parties and discontinued operations, and the whole of the financial statements is affected by the requirements of IAS 8, which covers selecting and changing accounting policies, changes in accounting estimates, and accounting for errors. The unit examines the requirements of IAS 1, also known as AASB 101 or New Zealand IFRS 1. The key statements making up a set of general purpose financial statements are each discussed in turn. The important thing to note here is the basic format and how they interconnect. You probably remember a lot of this from your university studies, but here's the catch. As we go through the module, we want you to use these financial statements as your mind map. Each new piece of information or each new standard should be slotted into your mental financial statements. The financial statements connect everything we learn in the Fin module together, so keep coming back to these pages. Don't forget also, these key statements shown here are supported by the notes to the accounts. Because these are so extensive, we do not cover many of them in detail. The important thing is to be aware of the disclosure requirements and access model financial statements where necessary. IAS 8 covers 3 buckets of information: selecting and changing accounting policies, changing estimates, and errors. Sometimes it is tricky to distinguish between these buckets. If you're having trouble doing this as you progress through the Candidate Study Guide, refer to the more detailed FinBite videos on this. Key to answering exam questions involving this standard is first getting the correct bucket and secondly knowing what to do next. There's a summary of whether an issue under IAS 8 is prospective or forward-looking or retrospective, thinking that it turns back time, on page 2-27. And these skills are also practiced in Activity 2.3. Related parties can be tricky to apply in practice, but we're looking at it at a pretty basic level here. In professional practice, the disclosures are extensive, but in the Fin module, we are just looking for an awareness of the definitions and disclosure requirements. An example is given on page 2-29, and Activity 2.4 allows you to practice your understanding in identifying related parties. Related parties is a good place to start summarizing important notes for your critical file. Diagrams using your own family and pretend company structures may assist you in remembering who is and who is not a related party under IAS 24. IFRS 5 covers discontinued operations. Don't lose hope, there's only 2 topics left in Unit 2 and this video. The whole point of discontinued operations is to be able to identify what constitutes a component of an entity that might either be sold already or be held for sale. The disclosure requirements ask preparers to present discontinued operations separately. Why? Well, it's pretty hard to make assessments about future cash flows if you actually can't distinguish the ongoing parts of the business from the discontinued parts. Think about what a user would need to see and check page 2-38 for a summary of disclosures. Events after the reporting period is our last topic. This flowchart on page 2-41 is a good summary of this topic. The whole question here is to adjust or not to adjust. That's the question you always need to answer under IAS 10. The trick is using your professional judgment to establish whether the given condition existed at year end. So that's it for Unit 2. It's a big, diversified one, but don't be intimidated. Break it up into smaller topics and master it one bite at a time. Don't forget there are FinBytes videos on events after reporting period and IAS 8 to help you. Thank you.